Our next cut is our light layering form, and let me just go over just for a second about the way the light layering form is cut. First of all, we use a holding angle of over 90 degrees, and then we use a traveling guide, because just like in the uniform, a traveling guide gives us nice light layers all over the head form. Now, the difference in light layering and heavy layering, which I will do next, the light layering, you can go from the bang area and you can go on down. You see you have nice light pieces in there using a traveling guide starting from your point right in this area. After establishing your hanging length, which we'll do first, then we come and establish around the front of the hair. So we'll have nice light pieces. Now on the young lady, on Vanessa, that we opted to do this haircut on, it fit perfect for her because she didn't want her hair too short, and yet she wanted some movement and to get some of the ends and the bad condition of her hair off. So it was perfect. So first we'll establish her hanging length at the bottom. Then we decide where we want the hair to come here. And I'm not going to cut short bangs on her, but I'll start it right here at the middle of the nose, short to long. Then this piece becomes my guide for the top, and we'll cut shorter to longer as we go down the length of the hair. So this particular cut produces light layers. You could, just like a pattern, you can cut it if you want to do short bangs, if you want to start here, even if you want to start here, you can start here. It will produce less layering. The shorter you start here, the more layering you will have, because this becomes our guide for the top. What distinguishes this haircut, it's short in the top, longer at the bottom, and light layers in between. The perimeter is even lightweight. So let's begin our haircut. I'm going to put a little bit of the All Nutrient Straight cream in her hair, because as we know, preparation is sometimes everything, and I've chosen this one even though I would primarily put it on hair that has more curl. I feel like it'll smooth Vanessa's little ends down on her hair and make our end result of drying a little easier. Now here again, going by the flat of the head, I'm going to section off a horseshoe shaping in the top. Now what this does, first of all, it will help me go through her haircut very simply. If I'm in the salon and I'm busy, I'll take a few extra minutes to do this, and I know my end result is going to be exactly where I want it. The next place I will section will be in the center of the ear. This is the hair that goes to the front. This is the hair that goes to the back. I'll turn Vanessa around, and we're going to make one section right horizontally across the bottom in the back for us to start our haircut. Yeah, I'll have one more clip. Now, I'm going to cut straight across in the back at a low elevation to establish her hanging length. And of course, I promised Vanessa I would leave her hair a little longer, a little past her shoulders. So we're going to start about 2 inches below her neck. Now, as you see, I have converged this to the center. What that allows me to do is to make sure these corners are not too short, okay? So by converging to the center and establishing that line about 2 inches past the shoulders. Now, I could also, if you want it straight across, you can do it that way. I'm going to go in and I want her edges to be a little softer. So after cutting that straight line and establishing that, I'll go in and just point cut a little bit. And I'm going to use that form all the way up. Now you see how I have it sectioned? I can just take a section and work right down. All the tangles are out of her hair, and I'm ready to go on it. And it makes my cut go a little faster. Go right through. I'm going to point cut. Go back through, double check, keeps my sides longer so I don't go too short there. This is different little insurance things as you go through when you're cutting hair, just to make sure that you don't end up with a form that you really didn't want. We want to make sure that the hair's in the right place. Short where we need it, but in longer where we need it. So converging to the center, and we'll just go and point cut that hair off so that I have a softer edge is why I'm doing that. Just combing that right down, looking at my guide underneath, taking small enough sections so you can see your guide right through. Just working right on up, going through and double checking, keeping that hairline very soft. You can see I'm going through it several times, which will keep it very soft in the little point cuts. Now, we have a line, but it's a very soft line, as you can see. Now, here's where I'll go next. We're just going to drop with your chin level. I'm going to drop that down, and we're going to connect the front and the back in a horizontal pattern. I didn't have a whole lot to take off her front, but just bringing it right down, connecting it up with the back, double checking to make sure it's not too weighty, but some of this more will come off in my interior layering, so I don't want to take too much. Let's go back over and connect up the other side. And it was a little shy there. I didn't quite have enough hair, but we'll pick it up when we work around the hairline, just really point cutting that, lifting it out. The more we lift, the more area and the more graduation we'll have. Now let's just let the top down. We're still working on our perimeter, combing the hair back. Let's see where this hair wants to fall. Yep, right about there. I think I hit it pretty close. Now let's just comb the hair down in the natural fall of the hair. Let the hair go where it wants to go. We don't want to bring too much of this forward. We don't want to bring too much of this back. Just in the natural fall. And let's clean up anything that falls over the edges. And remember, we now have our hanging length. We got the sides. Now we're going to get the front perimeter where we want it. And remember, I don't want to give her short bangs. I'm probably going to end up right in the middle of the nose area. So I'll just go ahead. I'm taking a piece from here and a piece from here, and we'll establish our length right about here. So just go in, and here again I am point cutting this because I don't want it to be just totally blunt. Here again, we're going to get this edges, clean these edges up, and at this point you want to remember, don't go beyond the ear area. You don't want to go into this part of the hair. Just to clean those little edges up on an angle. Now we'll go right over in this side, and we've got our guide here. So we just pick up right in this area, see where my guide is, and I'll go right in, and we just point cut that right off. Get this whole front perimeter, not going any further back than the middle of the ear. Just going in and making sure that weight's off of there, because remember, once I establish this length, this then becomes my guide for the top. So I will go from short to long. Now to establish this guide, her hair really swings from left to right. So that's why I'm going to pick up a piece from the front. Now you can't cut from here all the way back to the top of the head. And I don't want to have this going forward. I'm only doing that to see my guide, because this should be cut from here back. This is the angle we should be cutting this. From short in the front where I establish my perimeter to the top of the crown. The crown will be a little longer than this. Now as we go through and you learn these haircuts, there is a haircut where you would go straight across. You can also go shorter in the back and longer in the front, but I want to stay with the pure forms for this. And we'll start right here and take it right back. That establishes her length in the top. I'm going to take another section and establish a little more of a guide there, a little cross section of the top area, keeping my partings good and clean. Now even though I just came over one section, I've traveled over to where the parting is, okay? So you be sure not to do this. If you do that, then you'll have bulk in here that you didn't want. So once I section, travel one section over and go short to long. I'm going to do one more because we're parting her hair on the side, so I want to make sure I have a good guide for this side. Just here, start there, go right to the top. Now, that's our guide. For the left, we have a guide for the left section. We have a guide for the right. We've already established our hanging length, so now what we do is connect the two. We connect top to bottom using a traveling guide. Lift the hair straight up and out from the head form. And you see where my beginning guide is? Can we see that up close, Craig? Right here is the established guide I did in the top. So we're going to go, this is the way I'm cutting. We're going longer, so you see we go short to long, and then I just pick this up around the perimeter, bring the bottom up because I don't want to cut into that. Remember, I've established my length that I want, so I merely cut from the top down to the bottom in this angle. Now one section I'm traveling right over, one section over. We pick up the guide where we started. Now I've traveled one section back. I'm sure to leave, you see the angle of that. Now pick up the bottom, make sure, and you don't want to bring this up too much because then you would be bordering on a heavy layering, okay? So just go down to the bottom that we established. Let's travel one section back. I have now traveled to midway through the hair right at the ear area. So wherever I've sectioned is where I'm going to cut. Let's pull her around just a little more. We can see this a little better. Right where I have sectioned is where I've cut. Now, by using a traveling guide and being very consistent in your sections, you will have light layered hair that will be absolutely fabulous for your client and for you to work with because you'll get out of it exactly what you want. Now you see I've traveled one back. I'm here on the head form. Right where I section is right where we hold the hair. And boy, Vanessa is going to have some fabulous conditioned hair between the color and the cutting. That's a good team. Now you see I've traveled one section back. Let me turn her. I'm now on this section of the head form. This was my guide for my back and all the way around. One section back, making sure that I have that connection right, up and out, pick up the bottom, have nice consistent layers in there, and just one more section. You see where my body position is. I started here, then here. I can see my angle as I go all the way around the head form. Now, let's turn Vanessa back around. And let's start on this side. And body position for me will be right here. Because why is that? I want to be able to see my guide, my angle that I'm cutting. I'll start with my guide. I'll start with my guide right here where the short hair was. Hold up and out so I can see my bottom angle, my bottom length, and I cut right into it. Travel one section back, up and out using my guide that I did in the top. I already have my hanging length, so we just cut right to it. Same thing here, rotate one section back because our holding angle is over 90 and our cutting guide is traveling, which produces these wonderful, nice layers. Just rotating one section back. Let me turn her so you can see where we're at. I've worked her right here on the head form. I'm using my guide in the top and working down to the bottom. And one more section, and I've almost come up to the middle back section. Checking my guide to the top and cutting down to the bottom. And I believe this is where we are. Let's see, I think it is. Yep. And you see, just using that nice traveling guide, you'll see when we finished and dried Vanessa's hair, you'll see the nice amount of layers that are extremely consistent. And I'll do the same thing with hers. When we dry this, I'll come back, we'll tweak it and make sure that's exactly what we want. The advantage of doing the pure layers is it's your basis to start with. Then you can individualize each haircut that you do. Now let's just comb this down. I want to make sure this perimeter is all nice. At this point, I won't do any more cutting because I know that I've connected my lines. You can see that nice textured, layered hair all through. Let's turn her around to the back. Well, I didn't cut it too short. She's still got a smile on her face. Now with the light layering, you see that will allow her, if she even wanted to let her hair dry by itself, it wouldn't look bad. But now it has all these nice layers. It'll have lift in here. We'll dry her out. When we come back, Vanessa will be all dried. I'll show you how I'm going to tweak the haircut to finish it and make it just for her. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We're back with Vanessa, and we finished her hair, her little light layering haircut, which is just awesome on her. Now, before I tweak her hair, I want to tell you a little bit about what I did with the color. I used a waterfall color splashing technique. To do that, I literally went in sections from the crown, and I used the all-nutrient blue lightener and lightened up some pieces. You can see, as Craig comes in a little closer, you can see the definition there. I also used a low light in the level 5 chocolate. So that was really a good difference in color. I wouldn't even be afraid to go one shade lighter on her next time. I didn't want to scare her too much this time though, because I think this gave it a nice amount. See, before her hair was blonded on the ends and growing out at the roots. I did nothing to her root area. I literally did the light pieces, did the chocolate, and we shampooed it out. We lightened it up just a little bit and shampooed it out. So we really didn't do anything to her roots, because so many times people get into this routine of highlighting, 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 and then it looks like they've had it bleached all over and it's growing out. So we wanted to eliminate that. But that's her color, and it just came out beautiful. Now what I want to do is the first thing, now this has just been dried, I haven't tweaked it or anything, but what I want to do is just comb it down on the dry hair. And if Craig, if you'll come in a little closer, I'm just going to take my little 5.5 shear, and I'm just going to point cut that hair just to get it exactly, to lay exactly where I want it, just right. And you can see that it really took a lot of, well, really not a lot, all of Vanessa's dry ends off her hair. Now here's the same thing on this side. I want to just tweak that up close a little bit just to get that hair to fall just right. Now the bang area, you know, she'll be able to take her bangs over if she wants, or she can, I really prefer hers down, and I wanted to photograph it, like cut it like that, but just to bring those bangs a little fuller, and it plays up all that blonde, and you can see all the little lights that the level 5 chocolate did. But just going in and tweaking these bangs a little. I always wait till after the hair's dry to do any of this little finishing things. Like for instance in the crown area, I followed the pure light layering form, so it's a little blunt. So I'm just going in with my little shear. I'm opting to do this by hand with my 5.5 inch shear versus doing it with the notcher, because I can hand do this. Vanessa's hair is a little bit fine, so I didn't want to go in with a notcher on hers. But just going through and just tweaking these little ends a little bit, giving them a little more movement. When she goes to do her own hair, it's going to be extremely easy for her. She'll be very happy that she had her hair cut like this. Now just tweaking those little ends just as we go. Just a little, not removing any more length, because I like the length we got, but just going in and doing a little to those ends, and you can't do this until the hair is dry. Just a little. Now I think we got it. That hair is moving very good, very light pieces, nice movement in there. Now I tell you what we'll have, because you'll see the little highlights come in there even more. I'm going to take a little of the all nutrient define just on my fingertips and work it through Vanessa's hair. Just work it through these ends, just to give it actually plays up those highlights and just defines certain pieces in her hair that you can really see those little pieces peek through. Just to find those ends a little. Plays up the blonde and the chocolate. All right, there's our finished light layering look on Vanessa. Very pretty.